That's not one family. That's the pattern. $449. Non-refundable. That is Disney's official published policy. Not non-refundable unless the ride breaks down. Not non-refundable unless your child gets sick. Non-refundable. The moment you confirm the purchase. Josh D'Amaro, chairman of Disney Experiences and incoming chief executive officer of the Walt Disney Company as of March 18, 2026, oversees every pricing decision behind that policy. And here's what D'Amaro isn't saying while he talks about the guest experience. 45%. That's the share of parents with children under 18 who have gone into debt for a Disney vacation, according to a 2024 LendingTree survey of more than 2,000 Americans. Not went over budget, went into debt. Average Disney-related debt for parents with young children, $1,983. And then, on top of that debt, they buy a $449 non-refundable add-on. A family of 4. Lightning Lane Premier Pass at peak pricing, $1,796. On top of admission. On top of parking. On top of food. The moment that purchase clears, Disney's revenue is secured. Yours is not. And here's where it gets worse. Hugh Johnston, chief financial officer of the Walt Disney Company, stated at the Wells Fargo Technology Summit in November 2025 that domestic park attendance was down 1% in fiscal 2025. Per guest spending, what Disney internally calls per caps, grew 5% in the same period. What Johnston calls per cap growth actually means Disney made more money from fewer visitors. The revenue system does not require you to have a good day. It requires you to pay before you arrive. Johnston confirmed more at the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference on March 2, 2026. Parks demand is outpacing supply. Capacity utilization is super high. More demand than Disney currently has the means to capture. In plain terms, a packed park, a non-refundable purchase, and 5% per cap growth is a model that does not need the guest to succeed. It needs the guest to spend. Now here's the documented proof. Disney's own Plan Disney platform, the official Disney guest advisory service, states directly that Lightning Lane purchases are non-refundable and non-transferable once purchased. The same language applies to park admission tickets. Disney's published ticket terms repeat it without exception. That is not small print from a third-party reseller. That is Disney's own words on Disney's own platform. When an attraction breaks down during a paid Lightning Lane visit, Disney may offer an experience redemption pass for a different ride. What they do not offer is a guaranteed automated refund. Cast members have discretion. The app does not. Here's the part nobody's talking about. For a parent who paid $1,796 for 4 Lightning Lane Premier Passes and arrives to find a key ride closed for unscheduled maintenance, the official policy does not guarantee the money back. It offers a substitute. Now here is how the trap was built. 4 moves. Move 1. FastPass is removed. The Freeline skip included in admission disappears in 2021. Guests lose something they had at no extra charge. Move 2. Lightning Lane replaces it. The thing you had for free now costs money. Per person. Per day. Move 3. Pricing is applied dynamically. The cost rises on the exact days families have no other choice. School breaks, federal holidays, peak weeks. $449 lands on President's Day. On Valentine's Day weekend. On the days when standby lines stretch longest and the product feels most necessary. Move 4. The product is non-refundable from the moment of purchase. Under D'Amaro's Experiences oversight, there is no automated refund pathway in the system. The only recourse is a discretionary exception from a human at guest relations, if you can reach one. What D'Amaro's team calls dynamic pricing actually means the highest prices land on the days with the highest stakes for your family, and the refund policy does not adjust for that at all. Here's the part they don't advertise. The days when the pass costs the most are the same days when any disruption, A breakdown, a closure, a storm is most likely to affect your visit. And the refund policy does not account for that disruption at all. The price of absorbing it falls entirely on the guest. What Tomorrow's team calls guest experience tiering actually means the park now has two parallel experiences. One for guests who can absorb a non-refundable $1,796 loss if something goes wrong. One for everyone else standing in a 90-minute line. Imagine you are a parent of two kids who saved for 8 months. You booked President's Day week, the only break the school allows. You buy Premier Pass for your family. $898. Your youngest wakes up with a fever at 10 in the morning. You call guest relations. They offer a review, not a refund. You go home. The app shows nothing. Picture this scenario. You purchased Premier Pass a week in advance through your resort hotel's booking window. The morning of your visit, the attraction your children planned around for months closes for unscheduled maintenance. Disney's response is an experience redemption pass for a different ride, not the one you planned, not a refund, a substitute. Imagine you are a grandparent on a fixed income. 2 years of savings for this trip. $1,796 in Premier Pass fees alone. A severe afternoon storm closes outdoor areas for 2 hours at midday. Your grandchildren are in tears under a covered walkway. Guest relations confirms the weather is outside Disney's control. So, it turns out, is the refund policy. Now let me say that plainly. While Tomorrow earns executive compensation publicly filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, a figure verifiable in Disney's annual proxy, those families leave with credit card debt and digital receipts for experiences that did not fully materialize. The real cost is this. The 45% of parents going into debt for Disney are funding a model that does not refund them when the delivery falls short. The $1,983 the average family borrows does not come with a satisfaction guarantee. Neither does the $449 pass they buy on top of it. Now here is where the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. In January 2026, Shanghai Disneyland introduced a tiered refund policy for park tickets, the first Disney resort anywhere to implement one. Guests who cancel early enough receive a refund. Domestic Disney parks have not followed. The Happiest Place on Earth does not offer what a Disney-licensed resort in Shanghai now offers as a baseline. Let me repeat that. Shanghai has refundable tickets. Florida does not. Disney's standard public language around pricing uses phrases like guest experience investment and options to meet every guest's needs. Tomorrow has spoken publicly about listening to guests and relentless focus on the guest experience. Those statements are on the record. So are the terms and conditions. Johnston's verified public statements describe confident per cap growth, high capacity utilization, and bookings trending up into fiscal 2026. What Johnston did not describe is any change to the non-refundable policy. Now watch what happens next. Watch Tomorrow's first earnings call as Chief Executive Officer. Per guest spending versus attendance volume is the number that tells the whole story. If per caps keep rising while attendance holds flat or falls further, the model is confirmed in Disney's own public data. Watch whether the Lightning Lane Premier Pass terms are modified under Tomorrow's leadership. A change there would be the clearest signal that consumer pressure has actually landed. Watch whether federal or state drip pricing regulation catches up to Disney's non-refundable add-on structure. The FTC has already moved against drip pricing in other consumer industries. Disney's model, advertise a base ticket price, attach a non-refundable premium product on top, fits the pattern regulators have targeted elsewhere. And watch the debt number. 45% of parents with young children already in the red for a Disney trip. That figure was 30% just 2 years before the survey. The direction is not ambiguous. Tomorrow inherited this system. As of March 18, 2026, it belongs to him. The pricing, the policy, the receipts, and the families standing at guest relations with nothing in the app. $449. Non-refundable. For Disney, the magic is guaranteed. For the families borrowing money to be there, that depends entirely on a cast member's discretion. Tomorrow's first earnings call is coming. The numbers will speak first.